2:50 early Thursday morning. Maybe enough for you to grab a jacket on the way out the door. Climbing into the low and mid 70s for our Thursday afternoon. Just beautiful weather for a while. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Hi, this is Joshua Dobie. Join me Thursdays at 4 p.m. for Dollars and Cents, a show that focuses on your personal financial journey and the markets around us. That's Dollars and Cents, Thursday afternoons at 4 here on WSIC.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC. Bad and the Guilty is recorded live with the men and women of law enforcement. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, here's your host, Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Welcome, everybody, the good, the bad, and the guilty. It's Wednesday, 3 o'clock, so we like to call it the fastest hour on radio. But thanks, everybody, for joining us. I'm Darren Campbell, Sheriff here in Iredell. Chief Bill Hamby is beside us today. If you see across from us, we have Leo Hayes, one of our sergeants, and Captain Jeremy Younts. And as always, please tune in on Facebook or pull it up on Facebook. You can comment, call in at 844-STUDIO-4-X.
Now give them the real numbers.
844-788-3464.
There you go.
How's that? A lot better?
Yeah, it's better.
Well, listen.
My phone don't have them words on it.
I know, that's me. Yeah, be looking forward as you go. And today we've got Leo and Jeremy Younts here today. And the reason we have it, because since I guess 2 weeks, well, going on 11 days now, I believe, since Helena hit in the mountains, there's been a lot of stuff. We put a little bit about our deployment, what we did here, but I think we should explain to our citizens here sort of what we done. And y'all were in the mountains for almost 5 days, and then we relieved for a total of, we've had almost 28 deputies sent to the western part of the state since the morning of the hurricane, or the next day, Saturday. And one thing, Jeremy, you said real quick, we were the first outside agency deployed to Buncombe County, which is Asheville, was the first ones there. So that's cool, but I think a lot of people's asked us, we're going to try to cover everything, and please call in, ask us. There's a lot of people asking about donation spots. What kind of stuff they need, what we seen while we was up there, what kind of devastation. And you hate to say it, but a lot of people say, is it true what we're hearing about FEMA and the state officials or the Fed officials, I guess be the best word. So, Bill, I guess we finally made it up Monday. I know we made it to Asheville and Madison and got a chance to see where y'all were at. But so I guess whoever wants to start.
Well, I'd like to talk about this, and we're going to talk about this, but before we do, let me just go ahead and tell our folks we have an award-winning sheriff.
Oh, my goodness.
A bona fide award-winning sheriff. Joe, can you believe it?
Actually, I can.
I know, I can too. So yesterday, in amongst everything that's going on across the state, Sheriff, you had the great pleasure of going down to Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And at the bequest of the Attorney General, Josh Stein, and you were presented with the North Carolina Attorney General's Dogwood Award.
I was. We didn't know.
There you go, Joe.
No, I appreciate it. Really, we didn't know about it till last Friday, and I found out it was going to be yesterday. Mm-hmm. We got told where to be, and of course, I showed up, and it was at Panther Stadium in Bank of America, I believe it is. They had us parking, and we go in, and I really did not have an idea of what it was for. End up, and this is for everybody, and it's what I said when they asked me, and it's for the hard work of the men and women of the Sheriff's Office, our state and federal officials that helped us, but it's in a lot of our interdiction efforts, a lot of the drugs we've taken off the streets for the last year. So I was honored myself, Lynn Hagman up in Watauga County, that I got to go visit with 2 Sundays ago, and Van Shaw out of Cabarrus County was also award winners, along with other people. I think Food Line got an award, one of their representatives, and I'm going to tell you, if there's business, there's a lot of business. Food Line has been one of the top that's called.
Absolutely.
Offered us things because they understand that we're trying to create we have a disaster response team. Ours is more here for chainsaws and those kind of people. But when it comes to sending water, asking us what kind of equipment could their company maybe donate, they're the first one. So Food Line was part of it. Cannot remember who all else was there, but I'm obviously honored to receive the award.
Well, having done some research on the award, and for those folks that may be wondering about it, it was created in 2017 by in the Attorney General's office here in North Carolina. And as of yesterday, now I don't know how many total folks were in your class, but as of yesterday, there were 182 recipients of this award statewide since 2017. So you're in kind of exclusive exclusive group. And of that 182, only 12 sheriffs have received that award. So I know you and the other 2 sheriffs. So right now there's 15 sheriffs out of all the sheriffs in North Carolina that have been since 2017. So congratulations on that, boss.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the award.
That's a good award. And Leo, I know that we're here to talk about the disaster stuff, and we will. But kudos to you guys in the ICE team for playing a big part in Sheriff Campbell and the sheriff's office receiving this award.
Yes. We do have the opportunity to work out there on the interstates. It's a job that I think all 3 of us that work out there actually love coming to work to do. So we enjoy the opportunity and just try to make the sheriff look the best.
You know what, I can tell already. This is going to be one of those kind of shows. I knew when he started talking and he started laughing. I said, and Jeremy, I don't even know what you were going to say yet, but y'all behave. Both of y'all got evaluations, and we want people to turn in next.
And I think that it kind of does go hand in hand. And here again, ladies and gentlemen, I promise we're going to talk about disaster relief because these men that are around this table have seen it this week. So I want them to tell you what they've seen. But also for those of you that keep up with the Sheriff's Office on our Facebook page or through WSIC or any other news outlets, over 20 people arrested in this latest version of our roundup. They're again getting drugs, getting fentanyl, getting everything out of our community, making our community safer. So everything just kind of goes hand in hand. Good segue.
And everybody plays into it. Everybody helps those. Those arrests were basically those people that are in the active process of selling drugs.
Well, sold to an undercover officer.
And that's in addition to the other stuff we're doing.
Absolutely.
So. But Leo, and I know y'all been there, so like I say, we want this to be a fun show, and y'all, but what you seen and sort of what you thought when you got deployed, I guess. We received calls, set it up a little bit. We knew the storm was coming through. We didn't know exactly overnight and early that morning. They didn't know exactly where it was, how close, or what kind of impact we would have. We did have impact. First of all, we had a lot of power outages and things like that, Lake Lookout, Catawba, and then flooding, and we did help that. But before we even start into what we provided to other places, I want to make sure that we're clear. We never removed none of our assets until we knew that we were safe here. And we got about a 2-minute break, but if you want to, or here in about 2 minutes, but if you want to go ahead and get ready for the break.
Soon as we got there, our assistance was needed right away. We literally pulled in the parking lot, and they said, how many you got? We need help going out to these houses, doing welfare checks on people. We still have calls coming in, but these people need to be checked on. And that was one of our first missions, per se, is we teamed up with the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office. Like I said, we were the first agency there to help. And we got in the cars with them, and we started knocking out some welfare checks, trying to check on these elderly people or anybody at that whose family couldn't reach them. There was no cell service at all whatsoever, so it was strictly radio communication back here to Statesville. I talked to the sheriff and Bill numerous times on the radio, give them updates of what we were doing. But those people, when they saw you come just to check on them, to know that somebody was out there caring about them, it made a world of difference. And we were able to radio back to their communication center to say, hey, this person's here. They don't have power, but this is what they need. They need water. They need insulin. They need these things. And that way they could keep a track of it and keep people going to make sure those people are taken care of.
And when we come back, Jeremy, we're going to get in. That's you brought up some good, not just checks, but also the communications, how we can talk from here to Asheville, pretty much sitting in our cars, and how that works with the Viper system and why it's so beneficial. But we will take a break. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes. If you Facebook comment, call in 844-788-3464. We'd love to hear from you and listen to your questions. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes.
Stay with us. We'll have more of the good, the bad, and the guilty after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, the fall air is locked in. dry weather is locked in for a while, too, with really no rain in sight over the next week. Plenty of sunshine and comfy as we climb into the low to mid-70s today, falling back into the mid-50s around the lake tonight. Outlying spots and farms dip into the low 50s by early Thursday morning. Maybe enough for you to grab a jacket on the way out the door. Climbing into the low and mid-70s for our Thursday afternoon. Just beautiful weather for a while. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like ISI Denver.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Birkdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The Village is open all day for shopping and dining with Rocky Lynn taking the stage at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks with Rocky Lynn kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday in Birkdale Village. Old Town Cornelius is alive again with October's Second Friday Street Festival. Join friends and neighbors on October 11th from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Oak Street Mill in Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival season finale. Live music, an all-star lineup of breweries, delicious food trucks, sweet treats, a kids zone, petting zoo, vendors, and giveaways highlight a night of fun for the entire family. We'll see you in Old Town Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival. NASCAR returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for their annual fall weekend in October on the Roval. The Xfinity Series holds the Drive for the Cure 250 on Saturday. The Cup Series competes in the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday. Weekend ticket packages as well as daily tickets are available. Also, check out deals for military service members, college students, suites, the Champions Pavilion, the Indoor Clubhouse, Terrace Box, 4-packs, and more. Don't miss any of the entertainment, including Eli Young Band and Tim Duggar concerts before NASCAR's National Series step closer to their championships. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Now more of the good, the bad, and the guilty with Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking your time to tune in today to WSIC, the good, the bad, and the guilty. I have Sheriff Darren Campbell with us today, have Captain Jeremy Younts and Sergeant Leo Hayes. And kind of our topic today is how the Iredell County Sheriff's Office was able to respond and assist and is still assisting in the counties in the western part of North Carolina from the hurricane. But right before we left, Sheriff, Sergeant Hayes was talking about getting there. But I think
we need to step back.
Yeah, I kind of set this thing up because you obviously every sheriff in North Carolina is part of the North Carolina Sheriff's Association, and within the Sheriff's Association, you have a really great network. Not only were sheriffs checking on sheriffs daily, but you also have the Sheriff's Assistance Network.
Sheriffs helping sheriffs. That's
Sheriffs
right.
helping sheriffs. And I know that you were on the phone as the storm was coming and as the storm came. And then as soon as the storm cleared out, you received notification from Mr. Eddie Caldwell at the Sheriff's Association that Buncombe was one of the first counties that was requesting assistance. And you put me in touch with one of their majors up there. I was able to get through on a really scratchy cell call. And I said, Major, tell me what you need, and we're sending you help. And he's like, well, Chief, I appreciate it. He said, let me find out what we need. We're still in the triage stage, and I will call you back. Then about an hour later on that Friday, he called and said, we need help, but we can't get you where you need to go because of water and damage. He said, just stand by, and we'll let you know. So, of course, you kind of went into gear, and we asked for volunteers and was overwhelmed by the amount of volunteers that came forward. And then on Saturday afternoon, we got the word that it was clear, and we went ahead and pulled the trigger, and we sent 6.
It was an initial 5.
Initial five officers went up, and Leo, you were one of those initial 5.
Yes.
And when you guys got there, that's when they said,
we need help.
We need
more help. You know, if you can spare any extra guys, we need all the help we can get. So, like I said,
so that evening we sent another 6.
And, you know, we were playing that night after, and that's when the storm started clearing out, because at the same time we had Oxford opening up their floodgates coming down into Lake Lookout, coming down that way. Then was word about Lake Norman. Then, of course, we had the boat docks and everybody talking about maybe some evacuations up towards Lookout Shoals. So we're still dealing with that. At the same time, we're trying to send them assets up to the mountains. And, you know, it's just like I say, it's just too dangerous to get there Friday night. And we had our own stuff here to do, and a lot of people don't understand that. You know, we watching water levels, trying to make sure we can get people evacuated out. So before we went.
And Sheriff, I think you bring up a vital point, and that is one of the things that I think is really unique about the Sheriff's Help and Sheriff's Network is everybody realizes you still have to take care of your own. You still have to take care of your people, maintain your resources, and then you because I know you wanted us to look and see who we could send so that we could send some help, obviously, because these people need it, but we still had more than adequate staffing here at the Sheriff's Office to take care of anything that may have arisen here in Iredell County.
Yeah, and you're right. And actually, Friday evening, if you remember, they was asking for certain assets that we possess, you know, along with other, and I was not willing to let them loose yet till we made sure that we didn't need them. And basically what it is high water rescue vehicles. And we couldn't deploy ours to somewhere else knowing that if we may need it here, because those are for, I hate to say it, they're for our citizens.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to take care, and it's your responsibility to take care of Iredell County and make sure that we're all good, and that's what we did. So, Leo, you and your group goes up, and then the second group shows up, and then kind of tell us how that worked, and then Jeremy, your group kind of gathered up, and then you guys went on up later in the week.
Yes, so able to radio back down here, talk to you and the sheriff, and said, hey, if we can send more help, they need it. We need it. You know, we're getting ready to be boots on the ground. They're asking for any help you can. So y'all were able to get 6 more, which Captain Younts was part of that. They kind of scrambled, got up there pretty quick, it seemed like.
We got there about 10 o'clock that night, I think, and went straight to work. It was no, hey, go rest for a little bit. We'll get you in the morning. It was, I need you boots on the ground right now.
Right.
Yeah, there were several of us that were up for 24 hours that first day from, you know, working, helping, before we ever got to lay our head down and catch a 4-hour, I think about a 4-hour nap, really. Before
and that's
we
another thing
went
you don't think about that. I was trying to make sure that y'all have lodging, you know. Because some of the agencies I talked to, because I went to Watauga Sunday, and their officers being housed at a prison, which they obviously made they say this is officers for you now. They was worried it was haunted, so they slept in their cars. Now I don't know about y'all, but y'all end up actually getting a partially operating.
Yeah, we found like you were saying, a partially operating hotel. They had power. We're grateful for that. Never take that stuff for granted, definitely. But we did not have water for the whole stay.
That was rough.
Or showers.
I mean, I hate to admit it. There was probably all of us didn't take a shower for 3 days.
Well, we met y'all Monday in Swannanoa because Monday we met y'all coming back from Madison. Yeah, we wasn't gonna say nothing, but you know,
probably I saw you where you got near me in the picture. You're the one that wanted to hold me.
No, I did, and you know I've heard that.
Too.
I kind of wanted to stay upwind of you, you know.
Now here we go to this show. Okay, first of all, if you've seen the picture, Leo's the one that puts his arm around me to take the picture. It was not me.
I think it goes both ways.
Tomato. I mean, but anyways, you know, luckily there was a church up there that really took care of us. They fed us. I mean, that first day we didn't have meals. I mean, we were scrounging around looking for something to eat, something to drink, you know, because it took a while to get all this stuff in motion up there for them to be able to provide help. And luckily a church stepped up and they fed us. They gave us showers. I mean,
and it wasn't just us. It was community too. Yeah. I mean, they're acting food pantry. They're really in the community trying, I think, to give back.
Yeah.
And Jeremy, us old school officers like Bill and myself. Bill, what do you have in your car? I'm sure.
Have some water, have some MREs, have some crackers, some toilet paper, you know.
As do I in mine, food. A little. I got, believe it or not, I got one of those little Camp rocket stoves that you can use.
Yeah.
Freeze-dried food, water straws for purification. Us back in the old day, we had to carry that stuff. Just make fun of you guys.
But you know, Leo, anyway. you bring up a great point, and it just dawned on me when you said it. You guys went to a very, I'll use metropolitan or urban area.
And they were shooting. Shooting.
Yes.
Shooting and looting.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, right down from our hotel.
And the thing you said was it took a while for them to get up to speed.
Yes. Yes, it did.
And this was a major hub, so that kind of gives our listeners maybe some flavor about these more western, more rural counties, how far behind the 8 ball they were you know, where they may not have all these big businesses, big motels, big, you know, it kind of helps paint that picture.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen some of the other places they're staying in, you know, in cots and tents and stuff like that. Like I said, we were fortunate enough to find a hotel with power, no running water. Luckily, some linemen had set up in a hotel or a parking lot across from us, and they brought in bathhouses the last day, and we went over there begging them to use their showers so we could at least take a hot shower before we got moved to McDowell County to help them out.
And Jeremy, you're the supervisor that went up there, and so you got to go up there. Not that I don't want to say you were sent as supervisor. You volunteered to go.
Yeah.
So we don't do the supervisor deputy ratio maybe like other agencies do. We just want those. And before I move too far, also when we sent the sign out list, and this is volunteer. We didn't tell nobody you are going. We had over 50 some volunteer for the second wave after we come back from McDowell. But either way, but we had a lot. I think the major made that.
You looked
list.
at the total list and looked at some training and abilities outside of the sheriff's office.
And we can't pull from every.
Because we still have to maintain that minimum staffing rate.
Well, and we can't pull from patrol. We can't pull from just specialized units. I hate to say this, but we can sacrifice a little bit more without y'all working the interstate as we can, making sure we're safe. So, Jeremy, you as a supervisor, what was your first, I guess, initial?
Well, when I got there, like I said, it was 11 o'clock at night, and it was boots on the ground. But there was an overwhelming from the county or the city there. They were really scrambling to get food to local fire departments to give out to people. I think one of our first assignments was to go out and
deliver
water. MREs and water to local fire departments.
And y'all got escorted, just said, y'all couldn't get over Black Mountain. So I know we had to set up a rallying point for y'all to meet at exit 73, and y'all got escorted
Highway
out.
Patrol and DOT escorted us around the mudslide.
Really about drove through the mudslide in a way. I mean, in all honesty.
Well, we was there. We knew it had run down because we could see, when we was there Monday, we could see where it had ran down I-40 back coming east.
Back to
West
There
Mountain Lane.
were still, I think, cars on the side of the road about Wednesday or Thursday from the mudslide.
Well, there's still some Sunday in the side up on the side of the road.
Well, I guess for our listeners, what was y'all's first impression? I mean, I know when we were there Monday, like
especially when you got up Monday,
it was holy cow.
I think it was just devastation.
You felt 100%. That's the word I think we all used.
I mean, you felt horrible for the people. I mean, they lost everything.
Right.
People lost everything.
They did. I mean, when you're handing out bags of ice and people are coming up hugging you and crying over a bag of ice, that just puts it into words what are they going through. I mean, it's the pictures you see just don't do it justice.
No, it don't.
They really don't.
It don't.
I don't think, and the overwhelming support of the community up there, everybody was just wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. The officers.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we just thank you so much.
Well,
just,
and
just
they lost,
ease.
and their families lost homes and friends.
And they're out working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're working around the clock.
Yeah, there was, we've heard stories from several officers up there that literally lost everything. All they had left was their patrol car. But they literally were coming back into work and going to work and helping out their community.
And see, that's the kind of stuff that you're not going to see on the national stage, and they're not going to talk about those. Just like the Madison County deputy that lost her life, the major, and then buried her the next day, and her 2 kids worked for the sheriff's office, come back to work, buried her Sunday. She got killed Saturday. I think he said buried her Sunday, and they come back to work.
Back to work on Monday
morning. So it's those kind of stories that you don't hear in the stuff. I can hear them in my ears saying we got a break here in a little bit. But so when y'all first, devastation is the biggest thing in the amount of damage.
I just don't think and we've said it, the pictures just do not do it justice. If anybody wants to say that this is fake, I challenge you to drive west on 40 or from wherever you're from, get off on Swannanoa.
Which is exit 59.
Turn right, go 100 yards, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. Well, and I'll get into it more when we come back, but when we met you guys on Monday and you told us to get to where you were, the only way that I could describe how I felt was when you get off Interstate, because Interstate looked pretty good. And then you got off on exit 59, turn left, and I swear when we come to the stop sign, you were in a third world country.
You were.
Yeah, you couldn't look right. You had to
it was
helicopters.
incredible.
So, because the CNN guy was asking us, and you're doing rescue operations. No, flying bodies. And we'll talk a little. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes.
There's more of the good, the bad, and the guilty with Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell on the way from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the fall air is locked in. The dry weather is locked in for a while, too, with really no rain in sight over the next week. Plenty of sunshine and comfy as we climb into the low to mid-70s today, falling back into the mid-50s around the lake tonight. Outlying spots and farms dip into the low 50s by early Thursday morning. Maybe enough for you to grab a jacket on the way out the door. Climbing into the low and mid-70s for our Thursday afternoon. Just beautiful weather for a while. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Did you know every 3 seconds someone is a victim of identity theft? LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity this Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Adding multi-factor authentication, like a text with a security code, is one way to boost your security. But for comprehensive protection, trust LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal info and steps in to resolve issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect yourself with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is Brad with Lake Norman Patio and Game Rooms in Mooresville. We have the best outdoor furniture available and the largest inventory around Lake Norman. Also, pool table, shuffleboard, and game room furniture. 847 Brawley School Road in Mooresville.
On the lot at Black Automotive. Look at these Buick Envistas. The all-new Buick Envistas are leasing for as low as $299 a month. Check with them here at Black Automotive for all the details. Black Automotive, Statesville.
Family, quality, value. With a legacy of excellence for over 40 years, Horn Heating and Air Conditioning will make your house feel like a home. Welcome home to the feeling of HornHVAC.com.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Are you in constant pain, under constant stress? Just need a moment away? Repeat after me. Serenity Now Massage Therapy. SerenityNowMassageAndWellness.com, with locations in Mooresville and Cornelius.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The U.S. Justice Department now considering asking a federal judge to force Alphabet, that's the owner of Google, YouTube, Android, and a ton of other tech businesses, to break up, sell off parts of its business because it's become a monopoly, too dominant in the online search market. Shares of Alphabet right now down 2%, while elsewhere on Wall Street, stocks are seeing strong gains on pace for record-closing highs for the Dow and the S&P 500. That's ahead of what's expected to be a reading out tomorrow showing inflation eased up even further in September. Right now, the Dow up 0.8%, the Nasdaq and the S&P each up 0.5%. After a tumble in sales of Jeeps, Ram trucks, and other autos last quarter, the CEO of Stellantis now planning a major shakeup of its management team. And Disney jacking up ticket prices for Disneyland and its California Adventure theme park near Los Angeles by another 6%, effective immediately. The highest ticket price will be $206 a day. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Now more of the good, the bad, and the guilty with Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you again so much for tuning in today to WSIC. Listen to the good, the bad, the guilty. Have Sheriff Darren Campbell with us today, Captain Jeremy Younts, and Sergeant Leo Hayes, and kind of recalling our week in kind of the efforts of the Iredell County Sheriff's Office assisting in the western part of North Carolina. Those efforts are still ongoing. We still have deputies out of county as we speak. But you know, Sheriff, and we were talking, Leo and Jeremy, we're kind of really kind of putting a face to this tragedy And I know that I had the great pleasure of traveling around to several counties with you last Monday, and then I took some stuff out to another county on Tuesday. And I'm not gonna name the county or the officers that we spoke to about this, but you guys were talking about what you saw, and I really want our listeners to kind of understand the mental impact that this is going to have on all the first responders, all the linemen, and especially the people that live in these communities. But we were speaking with one high-ranking individual in a particular county, and this person talked about being worried about a particular officer because the officer had responded to a call and at the height of the storm, Sheriff, best I recall.
And it was a young officer.
Yeah, newer young officer. Excuse me. And basically, the way that this individual described it, the setting was the road came in around one mountain, and then there was basically a single lane bridge that connected one mountain to another mountain, and there were houses on the other side of the river, and people were trapped in this house, and they were calling for help. And by the time the deputy was able to get to the location, the bridge had washed out, and this deputy was trying to get back to dispatch when basically, from what I remember, a wall of water just came and washed the house away with 4 people in it, and it's things like that will stay with this officer in that community for many years to come. So I know that you had you put a premium on taking care of our officers, making sure that they have that we're good mentally and physically. We have the equipment that we have, and I think that's kind of the reason why people were chosen to respond to the relief effort.
I think for the initial wave, it's hard to put, no disrespect, but it's hard to put newer officers in that type of environment just from years. Because Bill and I's had our times, hurricane relief, especially when, some of the hurricanes down East Harbor, Princeton, some of those. We've had our time. Obviously, a totally different thing from talking to those Eastern sheriffs down there from what we had up here. But you can't just send newer officers into an environment like that with nowhere to stay, don't know how to get their food. I mean, it's just something that a little bit more experienced officers know how to handle better. And y'all to be the first group out.
The tip of the spear, man.
Y'all
were there
to help us and to relay and send information back. So
I think your senior officers, and nothing against newer officers, but we've been out there. We kind of know what to report back, what the needs are.
And you're callous to it. I mean, this stuff will affect you, but it's still a little different.
So,
y'all have specialized. Y'all have some other specialized training too. I mean, both of you do.
I've been on a fire department since I was 15 years old. So
we'll not hold that against you.
Yeah,
okay.
I chose the right career path as the full-time gig. So
give me made every fireman mad, but okay. Now go ahead and fill. You can't say we're at
Cool Springs Fire Department.
There you go.
And Jeremy, I started when I was 16 on the east side of the county, and now since I live in the southern end of the county, I've been at Shepherd's for the last 5 years.
Shepherd's.
Which I think a lot of the people that were on that first wave had been members of the fire department in some aspect in their lives. So they had
or something,
EMS where
I got to get bones when we was up there. I don't know if y'all seen. Excuse me. Is I know also Mooresville. Their Swift Water Rescue Team deployed. So
they're still there.
They're still there.
Yeah.
They're, I think in Burnsville now or somewhere.
Throw them some bones and see states of fire. So I don't know. I see some of them scattered out. It's hard for us. We don't stay in contact with them as much. I know that's a whole nother thing about the police chiefs and their EOC, but from what we know about ours, I know we were deployed, and before that, and I'll tell you this, by Saturday, well, let's rephrase this. The storm happened 2 days later. The North Carolina Sheriff's Association, I did get an update. We had over 350 deputies deployed. That's 2 days after the storm. 18 detention officers, 14 dispatchers. 30 counties have been sent help, and there have been over 150 jail inmates relocated, and another 20, I can't remember how many counties on standby to receive help. And that's within 2 days of the storm. So I meant to say that earlier, but when everybody asked me about the Sheriff's Association, that's something they do. It don't cost me a dime for them to help, or us a dime to help that. So
it was an honor to go up there, but something that impressed me is watching the community members come together.
100%.
They a lot of them helped each other. I went to one place and all the neighbors were cooking for each other.
That, and when we were at these food distribution centers, or we worked some grocery stores or some retail stores that were giving away items, these people could come and get all they wanted, but yet they were so humble they wanted to leave and make sure that there was stuff left over for the rest of the community to have. They don't want to take all of it.
You know, and we seen that in Swananoa when we was up there. There was a table, had food and water, and you see people come out, they had like a Walmart bag just that they probably got a grocery store somewhere, but they would only get certain. And I remember seeing the tuna and the ramen noodles and things like that, and they would only take a bag and then they'd leave something. And the table still had food on it for other people.
Yeah, I think, I mean, like he said, the community definitely rallied together, and I mean, I think that made a big, big difference. I think neighbors went out and helped neighbors get them to safety, because first responders were so busy.
And see what y'all
they're still doing it. I mean,
and y'all couldn't see it when y'all was up there. You had no other than the Viper system. We communicate. Y'all had no internet. No, we barely talked on cell phones, and that was but y'all didn't know the helicopters. Y'all could start seeing them probably around 2 days later. Y'all start seeing.
Started seeing a lot of civilian helicopters.
Yeah, and I think that was a first for me. I've never seen that many helicopters in and out, and it was, like you said, it was a lot of civilian helicopters that people just wanted to help, and that's all they wanted to do is go out there and help and drop supplies, rescue people, and I think they really rallied together and probably saved a lot of lives doing that.
We talked, I guess, Monday about possibly trying to deploy our drone as an asset, but it was, there were so many helicopters in there. We talked about the, airspace and stuff like that. Will we mess anything up?
Well, when we were up in when we were up there Monday, when I met with y'all, the guy come through, he just had a pickup truck with a camper shell, and he was wanting to fly a drone. But as we seen, and CNN was up there, and people don't see, there was all right there on that Swananoa, all Fox News and CNN. Well, they're saying, they're running rescue operations from this one little place, and there's like three helicopters circling. One would land, then the other would land.
Yep.
Now, we know. Now, you tell the listeners, what were they doing up there? With those helicopters,
a lot of recoveries,
a lot of bodies.
Yep, a lot of recoveries. They were firemen on the ground, and your SAR teams were out finding people. They were either basketing them out, putting them in baskets, and hoisting them up to the helicopter. The helicopter land in a certain area, and they would fly them down to a central location to be identified, hopefully.
You got to give it to those SAR teams too. I mean, they were from sun up to sundown every single day that we were there.
And I have seen them from all over the country.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'm telling you, I seen New Jersey, New York was down, and we seen some of those up there. I had friends called that took mule. I mean, they was even taking mule teams up there to haul equipment.
And that's some of those places was the only way to get would be a mule or by foot.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're walking miles because there's absolutely no road. I've just never seen anything like that where it's completely taken out roads and bridges and everything.
Detrimental. I mean,
when I was looking, when we was going to Madison, we spoke to the sheriff up there, and there's on their Madison not Facebook, it's actually their website, said basically, if you're not from here, you're not getting any of our supplies.
Yeah.
Don't come sightsee, and you're not welcome to come take our stuff that we have because it only had so much fuel. I mean, when they finally did money getting some of the gas and some of the gas stations up in Madison, there was a line a half a mile long just to get fuel.
That's where a shooting occurred right by our hotel was over gas.
Yeah. Somebody got denied gas.
Yeah. And so, I mean, these people were so desperate. They'll do anything. I mean, we've stopped at a gas station and talked to several citizens there of Asheville who were just there to get 5 gallons of gas to run their generators.
Lines
up the road.
I think a lot of people take for granted all of us carry cards.
Mm-hmm.
And to see the line a mile long at the ATM because nothing worked.
Yeah.
Cash only.
Cash only.
Cash work.
Yeah. And, the first group got up there and radioed back and said, hey, you better bring cash because no cards working. That was a lifesaver, I mean.
Well, we kept talking to y'all at night when we was on the radio. We said, hey, are y'all good? Do you know anything?
Y'all kept in constant contact. That was great. I mean, that makes you
have
a little bit of home. It made you feel like you had a little bit of home.
Exactly, and that was the only way for us to communicate with our significant others. I know the sheriff was at a dinner with my significant other.
Hold on, clarified. I was at the same dinner, not with her.
Same dinner, and she had questions about did I make it there because there was no way for me to communicate, and he was able to give her an update. So that was nice.
About I guess 12 or 14 hours in, we started getting a little bit of the FirstNet network up.
Yes.
And was able to communicate in certain areas scratchy, but.
We're fixing to go to a break in about 30. When we come back, we'll talk a bit about the communication, the Viper system, and some of that stuff, and some of the stuff that we need. Scams is one thing that we've already seen start. Mm-hmm. Where to make donations if we want to help, and what kind of supplies we need to look for going forward. So we'll be back in about another 2 minutes.
Don't go anywhere. We'll have more of the good, the bad, and the guilty coming up right after these messages on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Fall air is locked in. The dry weather is locked in for a while, too, with really no rain in sight over the next week. Plenty of sunshine and comfy as we climb into the low to mid-70s today, falling back into the mid-50s around the lake tonight. Outlying spots and farms dip into the low 50s by early Thursday morning. Maybe enough for you to grab a jacket on the way out the door. Climbing into the low and mid-70s for our Thursday afternoon. Just beautiful weather for a while. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Birkdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series live under the Oaks on Friday. The village is open all day for shopping and dining with Rocky Lynn taking the stage at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live under the Oaks with Rocky Lynn kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday in Birkdale Village. Old Town Cornelius is alive again with October's Second Friday Street Festival. Join friends and neighbors on October 11th from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Oak Street Mill in Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival season finale. Live music, an all-star lineup of breweries, delicious food trucks, sweet treats, a kids zone, petting zoo, vendors, and giveaways highlight a night of fun for the entire family. We'll see you in Old Town Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival. NASCAR returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for their annual fall weekend in October on the Roval. The Xfinity Series holds the Drive for the Cure 250 on Saturday. The Cup Series competes in the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday. Weekend ticket packages as well as daily tickets are available. Also, check out deals for military service members, college students, suites, the Champions Pavilion, the Indoor Clubhouse, Terrace Box, 4-packs, and more. Don't miss any of the entertainment, including Eli Young Band and Tim Duggar concerts before NASCAR's National Series step closer to their championships. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
The good, the bad, and the guilty continues now. Here's your host, Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to the good, the bad, and the guilty. We're on our last about 10 or 15 minutes. Leo Hayes, Jeremy Younts, Bill Hamby, and myself, and
I made it back.
You did make it back.
Hay fever's raw. Boy, it's awful. Whoa.
I didn't know what we were going to get you something. But please call us 844-788-3464. Send us a Facebook comment. Bill's watching those. And I think for this last little segment, we got a lot of things really to fit in. One is scams. One is what we can do, donations. But I do want to say one more thing about the Viper system, which, and when I refer to the Viper, it's a statewide communication system that we use. We utilize it here in Iredell County. It does not cost us a dime. This is something the state mans. And this time, without us saying anything, usually we can talk two counties, and sometimes you can get turned on statewide, wherever you need to be. But that night, the only way of communication, we didn't make, the state apparently made the call to switch us on to statewide communication. But we could talk to y'all straight from Viper, from Asheville, back to here so we could relay messages to your family and make sure y'all had things. But, Jeremy, I know that the night I was talking to you, and I believe that's when they thought the dam was going to break, and that was Saturday night. Was it Saturday or Sunday night?
Sunday or Monday, I think.
I think it was Sunday.
Sunday night, maybe the night before you come up.
Okay,
the next
I can't
day.
remember.
That was.
But tell us a little, because that was scary just from talking to y'all and hearing, what happened.
We were talking on the Viper system. Our phones had started working, and one of the first conversations, I got to call back home, talk to my kids and my spouse at home. But Leo was out with one of the Buncombe County deputies answering calls. I mean, they're overwhelmed. I think at that point they were probably 400 or 500 welfare checks in the hole.
Yeah, I think when we got there, they had over 1,000.
Yeah. And y'all got to remember, we was getting messages here I was getting from the national, from people in Louisiana, parents that their kids live in Louisiana trying to reach touch with this person.
And we were forwarding everything to the EOC to send out. I mean, because there was little communication, but the radio Viper system kept us in touch, and that, you know, Buncombe County was operating on their system. They do have Viper, I believe, but they were operating on their radios with their dispatch because it was still up. But Leah was out in the field. I was at one of the shelters trying to help out with Greensboro or Guilford County EOC was running that shelter. Me and another deputy were there, and they had somebody announced to a fireman that the dam had broke or breached. It was going to be about 530 million gallons of water on us.
And so, of course,
And you were riding with a Buncombe County deputy.
I was riding with a Buncombe County deputy, and you can't blame them. They wanted to go save their family. Well, that house happened to be at the bottom of that dam. And you want to talk about one of the scariest moments in law enforcement, it was trying to get those people out of that house and get back to safety, you know, before that dam was to breach, because you had all these people screaming on the radio that they couldn't get out. They were stuck down there at the dam. You know, please help me. It was
and we could hear this on
terrifying moment
on y'all's radio channel as I was talking to him. These people screaming, and you know.
It was pitiful. I've only had one other night in law enforcement that I don't talk about, but even compares to that. But
yeah, and I mean, so you're just trying to get back to safety, and then all at the end to find out that someone made this up and it was a hoax, and had all these people scrambling. I mean, I think
fire departments abandoned fire trucks.
Yeah, they abandoned their fire trucks. They were running. I mean, you had all these people from all over that county, and you had to pull resources from helping legitimate people that needed help over to this hoax is what it ended up being. Luckily, they found out who it was, and they arrested him.
He was arrested, yeah. So, he had some outstanding warrants. And
needed to be arrested.
And I'll state that one of Iredell's finest was one of the ones that found him.
Okay, who? You?
No, Kent.
Oh, okay.
Kent was with Buncombe County Deputy that night, too, and they found him in the wood line.
Yep.
Good.
So that was a pretty good find, and he went to jail and
needs to stay in jail.
Yeah. Like I said, it was and a lot of the agencies around there were posting it on Facebook.
I mean, they were doing mandatory evacuations.
Well, and we're sitting there, and you're telling me the name of the dam, and AB
B tree.
And, it was weird, and I'm sitting there trying to Google to see how deep, where's it at? Because if I lost communication with you, even though you're in Asheville, we had no idea to know where y'all were at.
The lieutenant working that night was Googling it too, because he was sending me messages about how much water it was.
Yeah, there you go. And that's exactly what we're doing. When it was built, how big it is, and things like that.
And it was, that was.
And I think they had already had some scares of that dam being one of the potential ones that would breach, and if it would, how much destruction it would have caused.
It was basically a flow right back, I think, into the same area that flooded, and the water had finally started receding a little bit, and it would have been detrimental, and I don't know that many people would have come home.
No.
I think in the end, we first of all, we all appreciate y'all going, appreciate everybody that's up in the mountains from every agency, from state. I mean, I had calls from Louisiana. I know it was the state association stuff. They want to come here. I know Florida had offered. I can't remember who else. I know Florida recalled their officers, obviously, for good reason. But they were still cleaning up, and they still offered help for us. And
there was a lot of people from a lot of different agencies around the country. I talked to one of the guys I went to school with that's up there now from another agency, and he was telling me that California's there now.
Well, I'm getting a lot of texts. I'm just going to ask y'all, and I'll say what I seen. It's no rumors, whatever. It's just what I seen. A lot of people's asked from the national response, was it there? I know we were there Monday, and I know I was back Thursday, and I think Thursday was the first day that I seen a federal presence. So from y'all on the ground, I mean, my opinion, I'm not saying they wasn't there. They wasn't where I was at. I didn't see nobody until Thursday, and I think it was a slow
covered a
response.
lot of ground, and I didn't. I don't remember seeing anybody.
Obviously, they could have gotten there after we had left, but I really, it was a lot of local agencies there during that
local people.
And I think that's been clear. If you look at something, it's been the local people from North Carolina. I got to say, communities, I'm telling you, just at Iredell, I can only multiply it 100 other times. It's how much help has been offered to those mountains. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't see it. I'm not saying there wasn't.
Well, I will say that being home now, I do see a lot of military-style helicopters flying over, headed that way. When I was there first of the week, I seen a lot of civilian helicopters. I did not see the.
I will say I think it was the last day we were there, we saw National Guard. Yeah. And we kind of teamed up with them and
but that was how many days after the storm?
Yeah, this was Thursday.
We were in McDowell at that point.
Yeah, McDowell County.
So I don't know at what point they got to Buncombe County.
Well,
But there was a lot of law enforcement agencies there.
Well, and
when
I'm
we
getting a lot
left.
of, and you're right, and you give me those numbers. I give you those numbers for, and that's just from our. That's not counting the police chiefs and or the police officers and fire. But I'm getting that text here as we're sitting here on my watch. I see you ask this question. That's just what we've seen. I know that the national media sort of said, "Hey, this on the ground initially." They may have been somewhere, maybe answering the phone, but they were not where these people needed help. And I'll just put it out
Well,
there. So
when you and I went up on Monday,
nobody even up there.
No, we went by. We went to, and here again, I'm not going to call the county out. We went to a particular county sheriff's office, and we went by a military installation.
Absolutely, yes, I know what you're talking about.
And there was 15 basically military tractor trailers, just sitting there.
One of them, the big thing got me, flat tire, sitting on flat. That you can tell they've not been moved, cranked.
I think there's so much destruction, people are overwhelmed too. They don't know where to begin.
That's the thing is one of the things is a shout out to the people that went. This first group, I know they were constantly, what can we do to help? We'll stay awake or we'll stay more days. We want to go and help these people. And that just made me think, man, the people that we work with.
Right. I mean, go take a couple hour nap and we were back up, going back to the command post. Okay, where do you need us to go?
It's amazing the way everybody stepped up.
It wasn't like, hey, go to bed for 12 hours and your shift 6 to 6. It was catch a couple hours of Z's and then.
And you never heard any people complaining, man, I ain't had a shower.
And y'all see this, even though we fight like brothers and sisters, us, highway patrols, police departments, every one of us, hey, if there's a chief up in Watauga, hey, if y'all need anything, we're here. I can get this for you. Van Shaw, Keystone out of National Watauga, we're saying, listen, if you need some resupplies, because they're out of Nash County, we'll run it to you from here.
Right.
That type of network, and then they would cross and they'd be into Yancey County, and they would be talking to these sheriffs. Hey, you bring it to us, you get it there, because that's what we did in Madison.
Absolutely.
Hats off to Southern Distillery. I've got to throw a bones. They sent us up. Pete Barger and Southern Distillery always steps up the Tuesday after the storm. Whole load of hand sanitizer, water and everything.
Hand sanitizer.
And that was the first almost to get to Madison.
Yeah, I had to. You gave me the great pleasure to be able to lead that vehicle up. Excuse me, y'all, because they were still at the time not letting people over Black Mountain. So I was there to get them through the checkpoint, and we distributed supplies with Southern Distillers to the sheriff's office, and then the sheriff's like, "I'm good, but we need some over here." So we took it to basically their version of fairgrounds, and we dropped some stuff off there, and the people were so gracious and so just overwhelmed that people would bring them stuff, and then they're like, "Hey, we've got enough, but can you take some to the health department?" So then we went to the high school, which was going to be their makeshift health department. So yeah, shout out to Pete and Southern Distillers, absolutely.
And before we quit, I do know that we got to say Purple Heart Homes today. I believe it's cooking. Bill, if you want to throw that by, we're a sponsor of that or help them. They're cooking for a place to actually send financial aid versus dealing with the $750 that FEMA says everybody's getting. They're actually going to be able to send some money up and help these people.
Yes, they are having it's called a Chicken Plate fundraiser. Buy a plate, send a plate. The location for that will be 755 Washington Avenue here in Statesville. Again, that's 755 Washington Avenue. They do have a advertisement on their Facebook page. WSIC is one of the corporate sponsors, along with South River, Rescue Ranch, City of Statesville, and many, many others on here. But if you want some good food for a good cause, go by and see the folks at Purple Heart Homes who are cooking to give that money to our friends in Western.
Tell them you heard about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell them you heard it on WSIC.
From the sheriff himself.
There you go. Because they're doing there are a lot of work out there.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing, scams. We know that's happening. Please do not look for reputable places and locations. Sheriff's office, we have it posted. If you get a text or something like that soliciting money, funds on cards, cash, do not do it. Do not do it. Don't give personal information out, because that's got to be a big thing already is scams because of this hurricane.
I think they had one of those in McDowell County that had started right before we left. So
that's going on. Well, before we leave, appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody and everybody that's still up there, because we're going to most likely have to deploy when a lot of those other people pull back. We're still close enough.
I think everybody's talked, especially out of the first group and the other groups. And I've got many phone calls to say, hey, we're ready to go back when the time's right.
Absolutely. Well, we will see you next Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and we hope everybody has a great week.